Yo, what's up? My name is Petrowski, and I want to make a super quick video answering one of the most common questions I've ever seen asked in PokeMMO. Where is Johto? When is Johto coming? What happened to Johto? Today I'm going to be explaining why Johto isn't in the game quite yet, why it's kind of a complicated thing to implement in the history of PokeMMO regions. So for those who don't know, PokeMMO actually started as a Fire Red only game. Like, it was only Pokemon Fire Red. You could access some second and third gen Pokemon on the islands, like for example Tyranitar on Island 7. That's always kind of been the case. And then eventually they added Gen 3, which was a huge deal. Made a lot of complicated things, changed the PvP meta. Whenever you add a new region, you change up the PvP meta, money making, shiny hunting spots. Stuff gets switched up a ton, and it's a really big deal. So Gen 3 gets added. And then I think 2 years later or so, Gen 5 gets added. And it was really surprising because people thought they weren't going to add Gen 5 quite yet, or quite there at least. It's a pretty complicated add, a lot of complicated graphics, pretty interesting gameplay. I really like Gen 5. I was really happy they did it in that order, but obviously really weird order. Everyone was confused, like why Generation 1, 3, and then 5? And it turns out Generation 4 was actually even more complicated. Overcoming the graphics barrier, every region's kind of had a barrier or a difficulty to overcome. So Gen 5 had a graphics barrier that they had to overcome and really work around. Gen 4 didn't come out for a long time because the storyline heavily involves legendaries, and they had to do sort of a workaround for that. So as you might know, the Giratina fight in Gen 4 is actually like a boss fight. You don't get to catch Giratina and everything like that. So people were really worried like legendaries were too involved in the storyline, and they would have to do some serious surgery, was what a certain forum post called it, to be able to implement it into the game, which is super fair. But eventually, Gen 5 was added 2 years later or so. It's always like a 2 to 3 year gap between regions, which is also super important information to know. 2 or 3 years later, Sinnoh was added, and now people are asking themselves, where's Johto? And honestly, Johto, I could see Johto coming within the next year or two, but the main complication and the main reason, whatever is holding Johto back right now, is that within Johto, there resides a Kanto region. So for those who have already or previous in their life played the traditional Pokemon, I believe Gold and Silver, you know that Kanto, it's one of the few Pokemon games with two regions in it. You can actually access the second region, Johto, and Kanto. So after you defeat the E4, and once you reach like post game and Gen 2, you can actually sail over to Kanto. And it's a huge redundancy and a huge sort of complication for the devs to work around this second Kanto region. They have to figure out like, do we just like cut off transportation to it? Can we just nix that part of the game off? Like, how do we do that code wise? Like, I'm not super familiar with this stuff, but the devs obviously have a good reason for it. And I think it's always really important to understand and assume they know what they're doing. And they've been working on that fix for a while, and working on the implementation of it, I assume. So I don't know how they're going to mediate that fix, but that's the biggest reason why Johto isn't in the game at the moment, is because there would be a redundancy of the Kanto region. So I think that's really interesting, and I think it's really cool. Another huge thing that I hear talked about a lot, or I hear questioned a lot, is whether Gen 6 will ever come into the game, whether the other future generations will ever come into the game, and what my thoughts are on that. But I'm going to be saving that for a future video. So thank you all so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on Johto, and if Johto is coming out tomorrow or not. Like this video, subscribe for more PokeMMO content, check out all the playlist links below. Consider joining my Discord to join an incredible community and learn about this game at a rapid pace. And then finally, consider becoming a YouTube member to me for $5 a month if you want to go above and beyond and support me. It means a ton. Thank you all so much. Best of luck in your PokeMMO journey, and I'll see you guys later.